want to be happy, don't you? Hi, I'm Conchetta, once again, cueing everybody to just be happy. The topic for this episode was requested by my dear friend Nicole, who also happens to be my fantastic hairdresser. I mention that because along with bartenders, hairdressers probably hear more about everyone's day-to-day problems than therapists. Nicole said women are always telling her they're so unhappy because they don't have a man in their life. It doesn't seem to matter whether they're young or old, being single makes them unhappy. They either never met the right person, or they did and now they're divorced, or sadly their husband has passed away. When she asked me to talk about it in my podcast, I thought it was a great idea, but as I began to write my thoughts down, I realized there are so many books and seminars and weekend retreats to handle this issue. What could I possibly add to the laundry list of solutions offered by all those highly qualified people? Therapists, psychologists, spiritual advisors. And let's not forget all your best friends and family who know you very well and offer everything from setting you up with, I know this great guy you gotta meet, to giving tips for online dating platforms, weekend getaways, you name it. Well, while all those things could provide a distraction from sadness or loneliness, in the end, none of it actually makes you happy. It seems that the mold for happiness was created when we were little girls, and all the fairy tales told us we'd live happily ever after, meaning after we meet Prince Charming and get married. Our girlfriends were basically stand-ins. Mostly girls hang out together until they get a boyfriend. Then they talk endlessly about every single thing that's happening with him, and everyone else fantasizes about when they will meet their own Mr. Wonderful. In fact, some girls get married right out of high school. If they're still single after high school, they have college roommates, followed by friends at work, until they meet and marry their husbands. Basically, always existing within a partnership of some kind. So, if for one reason or another, they no longer have a husband or all their friends are married and they're still single, being single makes them unhappy. Why? Well, I don't know, maybe it's because they've never been alone for more than a minute. It's worse if you're older because by this time, your pool of single friends to hang with is a lot smaller. I recently learned a Yiddish word I heard in a movie, and I love it, Beshert. It means inevitable or preordained. Singles wait to meet their Beshert, their life partner, their soulmate. Now, is it even possible that every single human on the planet has a soulmate? And that person will conveniently bump into you at the grocery store or sit next to you on a plane, maybe join your yoga class. I wonder how many people are not married to their soulmate. Now, if you've been listening to my other podcasts, you've heard me mention the importance of recognizing cues meant to propel our lives forward. Those cues direct us into becoming the person we were always meant to be. So if you haven't met your Beshert, your soulmate, is it because you're still growing and evolving, simply not ready for him? Or did you miss your cue when the right one popped up and marry the wrong person? Or marry for the wrong reasons? Whatever your situation, it's important to know that simply being married is not what makes a person happy. My friend Roxanne's mother, Virginia Smith, was, a delightful, positive, happy woman and an inspiration to many, including me. Her husband was much older, and after a long, wonderful marriage, he sadly passed away. Years later, she was probably well into her 70s, and still absolutely gorgeous. She always had the most beautiful, glowing smile. One day, we were talking about her new boyfriend. They had just begun living together, and I said, you must be so happy now. She looked at me with this little impish grin and said, oh, no. I was always happy. He makes me happier. Every so often, I hear about an older couple who met when they were young and are still very much in love. Oh, they had problems, but nothing was more important than their incredible connection and the beautiful family they raised. Well, that's a huge blessing because for many people, those people that met at that time, they're living the fairy tale most people only dream about or read about. That said, it's inevitable that at some point, one of them is going to be left to grieve with a deep and painful hole in their heart, trying to be happy without their partner. I guess my point is we have no control over the unseen side of life. All we have is right now, this moment, with or without a life partner. Living happily is a gift we all must learn to give to ourselves. And it can't come ever, how do they say, ever after something. It needs to be now. Happiness is a conscious choice that we have to make every single day because the alternative is not unhappiness. It's a lack of joy. And if we allow that to dominate our lives, it can affect our health, both mentally and physically. I'm reminded of a quote originally written by George Burnap, who said, "The three grand essentials to happiness in this life are something to do, something to love, and something to hope for." Let's break that down. The first one, something to do, that gives you a reason to get up in the morning, and doing something you enjoy, well, that makes you happy. The second is notable, something to love. Notice, he didn't say someone to love. You can love what you do, what you create, your garden, your family, your friends, your dog, your cat, your home, your neighbors. Love exists in your heart, and it needs a place to go. But if you keep it hidden, waiting to meet the one, you smother your love and yourself. Love is happiness. The third part, something to hope for, was later changed by a woman named Rita Mae Brown from something to hope for to something to look forward to. And I much prefer it. Hoping for something seems to mean waiting and wanting or wishing, and if that wish is not granted, well, poof, there goes your happy. Changing it to something to look forward to implies a vision, a plan through which you create some happy thing you have planned for your future. That's when I like to say your life can begin again. Think of it this way. I look forward to Christmas every year. There's no doubt in my mind that it's coming, and it makes me happy. I don't hope for it. I look forward to it. Is it better to hope you'll get that job you want, or to plan and look forward to working there? That simple little difference is very important. It reverses the achy, needy feelings that make people unhappy. Whenever I'm unhappy, it means at least one of the three elements to happiness is missing in my life. So I stop and I ask myself, okay, which one? And that missing element is not always the same one. Knowing the answer gives me a route to follow so I can get my happy back. Try it. If you've never been married or you're no longer with your partner, maybe it's time to stop focusing on who or what you don't have and be grateful for the things you do have. Then think about becoming your best self. So the person, your Beshert, will see and recognize you. That works both ways. You may not have met your Beshert because he is still becoming the best version of himself and is not ready for you. So you could be one of those people who meets their Beshert much later in life. Now, if you did meet the right person who has sadly passed away, maybe the new one hasn't found you yet. Don't give up. I'm reminded of that wonderful Sammy Kahn song with music by Jimmy Van Heusen. Who can say what led us to this miracle we found? There are those who'll bet love comes but once, and yet I'm oh so glad we met the second time around. It was written for the film High Time and originally sung by Bing Crosby in the role of a widower who finds love again. Look at it this way. When you walk into a room full of people, how do you decide who you want to sit next to? Do you walk over to the man with a scowl on his face? Or the sad-looking woman with her head down, staring at the floor? No. So be the person you want to meet. Going back to the question Nicole asked me to discuss, I'm reminded of how I begin each podcast, wanting everyone to just be happy. That's something no one else can do for you. You hear those finger snaps? You've just been cued. Check your 3 essentials to happiness. Do what you love, have something in your life to love, and look forward to all the happy plans you're making for tomorrow. Pick up those 3 cues. I publish a new episode every 2 weeks, so if you have a topic you want me to talk about, Google Conchetta Cues Women of a Lovely Age on YouTube and post your request in the comments section below. Oh, I cue men too. Until then, be happy. Why?